Okay, hello, let's play queer games. It is the spooky month, so let's play something spooky, even though I'm kinda weak against horror, but this shouldn't be like too graphic or anything like that's mainly my problem. Hello chat. So I'm playing the final prize is Soup, which is Yuri survival horror kinda game. There is a good deal of content warnings on the game page, like cannibalism and death and stuff like that, but hopefully it's not too bad. Anyway, yeah, it's spooky month, so let's try to play this. Like the previous games I have played by Nokia, or however it is pronounced the name. They have been great and moody, so I'm looking forward to this. Okay, so let me get out of the way, then we can play, I guess. Okay. Oh no idea what the layout is. As always, going in kinda blind. Start. Or she. Interesting. Reading a crackling red, suffocating black, my mind seemed to take form from countless ashes. Like based on the its page, you're basically dead, but you're redeemed unless something like that is the setting. I guess actually this is a good spot because I'm just hiding the controls. That should be nice. Maybe go a little bit more down, just in case. Like this. The falling sensation jolted me awake, but my body would not move. A weight upon my legs, a haze upon my consciousness, as if the flow of blood had congealed within my veins. That is also a word that I'm not sure how to pronounce. It could be congealed too. That sounds more likely. I opened my heavy eyelids and met red eyes. The girl wearing a red dress sat upon my lap, looking at me like one look at a particularly droll statue in a dull museum. I meant to push her off of me, yet I was unable to make more than the slightest twitch. Well, this is I guess the equivalent of waking up being all slammed, more or less. In the folly of the design of human flesh, unlike wooden marionettes, despite the stiffness of my muscles and joints, I could still feel the hard seat and backrest. I tried to speak, and in more of the same, my voice did not move. No, put the knife away, please. If that is a nice knife, I guess it is a knife. Just usually the kitchen knives, they are different, the blade is bigger and the handle is smaller, I guess. Maybe this is some kind of sneaky tools assassins or something would use. She too did not speak. Finally her eyes, red as blood, met mine. As if acknowledging me, as if dismissing me, she stepped down to the ground. In doing so, she opened up my line of sight. Oh, surgical knife, yeah, that's true, that could be it. Not that I have ever seen that in real life, but sounds plausible. Surely they don't have like huge blades. No surgery tanks, like, at least like not graphically. I can't like that. Like the hospital, like TV shows, like they are the worst for me. Okay, so IKEA. Lights around, still frozen. This was a place filled with shadows and little else. I seemed to spot the outline of a door by a far wall, which was also covered in darkness. I do like these subtle movements, like this kind of things. Something that I want to do too. It is made in rainbow, right? Like it is incredible that they make this work. The animation system is a little bit of a pain. Thus, a glint of light, where there was no light, instantly caught my eye. Blade, a scalpel. The girl held a small surgical knife that, at this very moment, she let go of. That which fell to the ground, rather than clink or bounce, was devoured by the floor and melted away. Okay, well that's unreal. I guess that is kind of the point anyway. A fanciful thought flitted across my mind that this was a dream. Well, probably kinda, I guess. If we are dead. She did not speak, I could not speak. My tongue still in my mouth, my limbs feeling not my own. Slowly, I regained control of my body and pushed myself up to my feet. A wave of vertigo washed over me as I wobbled to balance. I glanced behind me, finding the chair that I must have been sitting on, and the same darkness that covered the rest of this place. Finished, I wearily looked back toward the girl. Where was this? Who was she? I tried to remember how I arrived at this situation. Nothing. I couldn't remember anything, instead feeling a budding headache at my temple and a sore sensation bubbling up in my gut. I was like suffering from memory loss too. No one would search for me. A face crossed my mind as if to contradict me. Maybe that person who I pushed away would, but the thought didn't give me any sense of relief. Maybe they did like the typical animating, like somebody is like getting hit by a truck and then we push them away and get hit instead. Something like that. Would fit this statement, I guess. You have already died. And then an unfamiliar voice, the voice of the girl wearing red, broke the silence. This is the afterlife, the courts of Dio. Welcome to the final court, the 11th court, where you will be judged. I was dead, she said. This was the afterlife, she said. To think that my forebears were right. Courts were a major part of the traditional subterranean afterlife of Dio. A concept formed from a mixture of Buddhist ideas and traditional Chinese ideas. I guess like maybe this kind of thing is pretty universal then. that you will be judged. The number was commonly stated to be 10, but I had heard of variants, albeit not 11. Then again, this wasn't my area of study, but rather information that person would mention now and then when something piqued her interest. Was I in such great shock that my mind would wander so? So I'm dead? Yes. She looked at me as if I were a fool. Without waiting, she continued her script. I am the judge of the element court of hell. You have been disqualified from entering the cycle of reincarnation by your sins in life. Your fate as a sinner will be determined by this court. Therefore, you may not drink Mengpo's forgetfulness soup. Mengpo was a goddess at night bridge in the underworld, serving a soup that would wipe the memory of all that drank it. I do like this kind of lore though. It's nice. Big fan of that. All souls had to drink the soup before they could reincarnate into the next life, ripped from the burdens of their previous life. So in other words, what is going to happen? Instead, you are given a chance to participate in a trial set by the king of the element court. A game of life, 3 rounds, 3 tests. Should you pass all 3, then you will be brought forth before the court to win the qualification for rebirth or to undo your death. What did it mean to undo my death? I narrowed my eyes in contemplation, thinking of all the false claims of resurrection made by religious fanatics of all sorts. Because I wanted to live again. Somewhere deep in my bones, I had already accepted that I was dead. What sort of tests? Dangerous enough, difficult enough, but if we are dead, it probably doesn't necessarily matter unless you can die twice or something. No idea. What happens if I refuse to enter this game of life? Then you're dead, I guess. You will be judged to have lost and be eaten alive, but we are already dead, right? You have no obligation to participate. Simply do nothing, and everything will end with time. No, just wanted to check. I have no intention of giving up before I even get started. I looked around again, finding no one but her and me. Why was I the only one chosen for this? That. Ha 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 ha. Why do you think that? There are plenty of other dead who will also play this game. Deciding whether you want to fight over the prize with them once you meet is your prerogative. Okay, so it is like the... Well, I haven't played the mainstream visual novels, but I'm pretty sure there was something like this too. This kind of setting. A low bell rang. But I guess this is well, very typical. Not even games, there is sure some kind of other media too. Not sure even where this started. Well, game of death kinda thing. She tilted her head upward, gazing into the dark. My task here is finished. I have been called away by the king, so I will take my leave now. Not looking for an answer from me, she turned to leave the pathway into the shadows before pausing. She glanced back toward me and pointed at the door by the far wall. Just one more thing. Pass through that door to enter the first test, the first game. If you are still interested in playing, I guess we should be. Surely it is a bad end if you don't do anything. Then as she walked fully into the shadows and disappeared from my sight. Well, I guess like having like basically 3 chapters, like that's kinda nice. Should be easier to like segment the streams or something. I was now all alone. All I had left to do was walk through the door, but I hesitated. The continuing low sound of the bell sent chills down my spine. As I stalled, the darkness approached before I realized the chair behind me was swallowed whole. I stumbled, trying to avoid the shadows that had reached my feet. It extended toward me, and I backed away further, but despite the black barely touching my shoes, I felt it like hands upon my neck, cold yet burning. I gasped, forcing myself toward the door, tearing off the invisible things grabbing me. They seemed to try to drag me back, making my skin burn. I ran. I had to run. The darkness chased. I reached the door. I could not see the other side, despite it appearing more like a hole in the wall than a door, now that I was mere steps away. I had to go. Propelling myself through it, with my hands against the frame, I passed through the doorway. A strange light, so similar to the absence of light, enveloped me. Then I was falling. I grunted as I dropped unceremoniously to the ground. Despite landing on my feet, I slipped on the wet grass and rolled a couple meters down the hill. It took me a moment to reorient myself on the ground. Like what kind of like survival horror is it like? Is it like actually survive in the woods? When the world finally stopped spinning, I stood, brushed the dirt off my clothes as best as I could, and observed my surroundings. There wasn't much to comment on. I was in a deserted part of a dark forest. Trees and shrubbery surrounded me on all sides. Visibility was minimal, but moonlight streamed through gaps within the layers. Suddenly, a rustling sound broke through the natural quietude. Perhaps I wasn't alone after all. There was something in the foliage. Before I could investigate, a familiar voice filled the sky. Welcome to the first round of the game of life. It was the girl in the red dress. Like her voice came from the speakers of a stadium, she was nowhere to be seen, yet could be heard everywhere. The rules are simple. You have 9 hours to arrive at the bottom of the mountain, alive of course. Oh, that's not like too violent, I guess. Unless it is somehow. was like going down instead of up. Hopefully easier. Just give us like equipment. I'll be your judge. Good luck. Feedback. A chuckle. She couldn't hide the sarcasm in her well wishes if she tried. Well, at least downhill was always easier than uphill. Yeah, hopefully. Depends on like how downhill it is. If it is like a huge fall, then yeah, probably not. I began walking in the direction the ground seemed to slope downward. I did my best to ignore the eerie feeling of something watching me, and within the foliage as I searched my pockets. Did I have anything that might help me get down the mountain in one piece? Not much at all. A parachute or something if it is really steep would be nice. No wallet, no phone, not even my light. Wallet and phone probably not the most helpful there. At least the moon was bright tonight. Despite the darkness of the forested mountain, I had enough light to ensure I wouldn't walk right into a tree. 9 hours wasn't a terribly long time, but it was enough to lose strength to thirst and hunger. Thankfully, I didn't feel hungry or thirsty right now. But just in case, should I spend some time looking for a river or... A sharp scream sliced through my thoughts and sent a shiver up my spine, making my heart race in my chest. I jumped at the sound, turning in every direction to identify its origin. Arr! Then the scream began to diminish, the noise of crunching and squelching, reminding me of a large dog feasting upon a fleshy reward. Reached my ears. Wolf. Yes, it is wolves or something. I ran towards the source. I know, like running the other way might be a good idea. It might have been dangerous, but I couldn't leave someone in danger. So I naively thought, more like the character name also said man, so it is no romance interest, so why bother? Oh, just kidding though. But like the Yuri brain. Dashing toward the noise, I felt my stomach turn. Animalistic eating increased in volume, and further dread came upon me as I realized that I could no longer hear the person. I skidded to a stop before a ridge, finding that level ground stopped a few meters in front of me. The sound came from below. Well, that's lucky, I guess. Might be hard for the wolves to reach us. Walking toward the edge to peer downward, I wondered if they would be alright. I kinda doubted it. The train of thought died as soon as I saw what became of the person, or what became the remains of the person. They were dead. That wasn't a person, that wasn't a human being, that was just a pile of flesh. But thankfully, oh, that's kinda scary though. That's not a wolf. Also, it is animated, that's nice, but also not nice. A few meters below the ridge where I stood, a pack of monsters hunched over something terribly red, tearing inwards from the lifeless sack of what must have been a human. Words were caught in my throat, my lungs stuttered with each breath. As much as my brain screamed at me to run, I couldn't tear my eyes from the scene. Oh. As soon as I thought that, one of the monsters suddenly turned its head. Red dots in the depths of black pits met my eyes. Let me select the settings. Options. Not sure if it is this or if it is this. Oh, I guess save while I did. Oh, not that. This. As soon as I heard that, one of the monsters suddenly... I guess there is like the history. Very before they noticed you. I guess that works. Let me hydrate, I guess. I think the play with the hydration is to just like, don't hydrate too much in one go. Just do it like little by little frequently. That seems to work better. Just like it is better have a mug than a bottle. Like the bottle apparently puts like more pressure on your throat if you hydrate from a bottle or something else like that. Probably also issue with bigger sips. Let's try this. Anyway, as soon as I thought that, one of the monsters suddenly turned its head. Red dots in the depths of black pits met my eyes. If those teeth caught me, I would be done. My sense of equilibrium collapsed and my legs turned to jelly, causing me to fall behind. It let out a hole and jumped toward me, thankfully unable to climb up the ridge to reach me. Yet sensing my presence about the ledge just a few meters tall, it began to slam and scrape against the rocks to find a handle to climb upward. That was finally enough for my brain to get my legs to work. I scrambled to my feet and ran. I knew it was a bad idea to look at all. I dashed through the forest in the opposite direction of those creatures, hoping I was still going downhill and not into a den of monsters. I guess like in a way it's nice to know like the dangers of the mountain. As I ran past trees and shrubs, a sudden light caught my eyes. A bobbing orb within the foliage appeared to be approaching me. The light flickering in and out as it disappeared behind leaves intermittently. My breath hitched. No. I didn't know what that light could be, but considering I just saw a pack of monsters eating the last person that screamed, I didn't want to find out and picked another direction to run. How many more monsters can be? I guess it doesn't look like the scariest monster could be like a fairy or a ghost or something. As I twisted, the ground beneath me disappeared. My foot hit something hard and the sky swung outside my field of view as grass and rocks came hurtling toward me. I crashed onto the ground, just barely able to stop myself from face planting straight into the dirt. Terror gripped my hand. Did something catch me? When I turned around, I only saw a metal pipe and a hiking backpack on the ground. But that's useful, I guess. It has something at least. What tripped me was nothing more than a pair of inanimate objects, innocently scattered apart by my impact. Their presence was almost laughable in the face of what I imagined. heart wanted to relax and stop thumping for a moment, filled with self-ridicule at my overreaction. Then I saw the light flickering through the trees again. It could be a moon too. Too close, I had to leave soon. I struggled to my feet, but that one moment of relaxation took more of a toll on me than I expected. My legs wobbled, the glow was up on me before I could get up. Now it would say like, hey. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing myself for the end. I was done for. Whatever monster I was running away from was going to eat me. Just a light relax. The first bite never came. Instead, I heard human footsteps shuffle closer to my position before stopping. The light swept over my closed eyelids and then shifted out of my face. Whoever stood before me did not speak. However, perhaps it wasn't a monster. Maybe it's just a flashlight. That's also a possibility. It's a phone. That's kind of the modern version of flashlight, I guess. When I opened my eyes, it was a pretty face that greeted me. Her usual gloomy disposition broken by surprise in her eyes. But at least we have pretty girls. That's nice. Not dying alone. It was a familiar face, her eyes averting mine as they too recognized me. Was a dreaming Mimi. Mimi. Mimi is ears in Japanese. Like Neko Mimi is cat ears. My heart started thumping for a different reason. Cold sweat breaking out from nervous awkwardness instead of fear. I guess like, well, we don't know much, but it is a possibility that we tried to save her, but it didn't work. Now we are both dead and here. That's a possibility, I guess. Like, surely if we knew her, like she's dead too. Well, we knew each other. For better or worse. Hopefully better. She was Mimi. No, not Mimi. Her name was Cheng Yangshu. And my former girlfriend. Well, the former part, well, some extra drama, probably still better than getting eaten. I used the term former not because I had died, but because we broke up a few weeks ago. Just a few weeks ago. I guess it is awkward. It's awkward, but well. Maybe this is the second chances trope. And it wasn't. I swallowed those feelings like I swallowed her name from my lips. I guess it wasn't pretty. Mrs. Lulu. This also like how do you pronounce the name? Like Yangsu or something maybe. Like the or like is this the like, first or last name? I guess I can look at the history. But based on the well, like this should be the first name based on the like information from the other Chinese games. Cheng Yangshu. Like this is probably like the last name. I would assume. No idea how to pronounce this. Lulu I do know, but Yangsu, well, hopefully that is close enough. Gyeonghailu or something. So weird when you don't know like the pronunciation rules. Yes, Cheng Yangshu. Spoke each other's full names, usually discarding the pet names that we once called each other when we had been in love. Like Lulu. Where does Lulu come from? Hailu and Cheng Yangshu were no longer dating. Hailu and Cheng Yangshu were dead. Guess she's dead too. I finally gathered my thoughts. Like this is a cool phone type. Like the shape. Well, I guess that's why Mimi. I guess it makes sense. Like ears and ears on the phone. I didn't expect to see you here. Neither do I. You're here for the game of life as well. I guess like nobody has said that there's only one winner. Like it's not like we need to like sacrifice her necessarily. Just that you need to like get out alive, I guess. Well, there is a possibility that there won't be like a good ending exactly because that's a horror game staple I would assume. A rhetorical question. Who would go hiking deep in the mountains at this hour of the night? And also like monsters and stuff. Certainly not me, Cheng Yangshu. She was much more of an indoor girl. Yes. At least the task seems simple. We just had to get to the bottom of the mountain. It's always easier to go down than up. Yeah, well, assuming no elevator. Like our relationship. That's a good one. That's a good one. I need to remember that. Well, hopefully it won't come handy, but still. Easy. There are monsters on our trail. Monsters? I saw them eating one of the contestants. I didn't know how to best describe the scene. My blood running cold as I remembered vividly the monsters eating. However, it seemed I didn't need to. She didn't doubt my words. I trembled as she looked at her phone and took everything to not reach out to give her a comforting hug. This was a bad dream. We would wake up and we would be... I sighed internally. Why did I do this to myself? I couldn't let the past cloud over the present. Still, looking at the way she clutched her phone, trembling at the mere mention of monsters, made me waver in my convictions. I was like, is the like monsters eating the human? Like, is that the cannibalism part? I guess it could be. Not sure if it technically counts as cannibalism, but sure. I would rather that be it than there being something more cannibalistic in the future. It occurred to me that she would never make it out alive on her own. Alive, that seemed to be the wrong phrase. I can't believe we are both dead. That's one hell of a coincidence. Coincidence? Horrible one, yeah, but... What was the line for interacting with and helping your ex? Ex-drama, I guess. Despite my indecision, there was one thing I had no doubt about. It didn't matter that we broke up. I didn't want her to be dead. Should we team up? Well, I guess. Probably. Especially like if she's like the indoorsy person and will be guaranteed to be dead if she doesn't team up. Terror was still evident in her face, but there was a light of hope in her eyes from my words. She hesitantly reached out a hand toward me but retracted it before I could hold her. With a slight shake of her head and a slight nod, she gave me the slightest smile. If you'll have me... So far this is really interesting. I like the atmosphere. It's not like... It's a little spooky, I guess, the monsters. At least like they didn't show like the eating scene, so that's promising. We chatted about our situation for a few more minutes and debated on what we should do. I take the backpack, I guess. We couldn't find an answer beyond playing this cruel game. Youngsu tilted her head toward the objects on the ground. What do we have here? I dug through the backpack. I tripped over a couple bottles of water, a variety of snacks, and a first aid kit. But as usual stuff. I pulled the items out one by one to show Youngsu. And I guess this. I picked up the metal pipe laying by the backpack and swung it a couple times. You can probably grab some kind of branch or something fallen on the ground to have as a club. Not sure how helpful it will be, but it would be something. Get a stick just in case. Like a walking stick. I didn't harbor any optimism about its effectiveness against man-eating monsters, but it was a weapon. There's a note from 11. Lucky boxes will be scattered throughout the mountain for players to use as they please. Great loot boxes, I guess. I suppose this is one of them. 11. Oh, the girl in the red dress. She appeared to tell me I'm dead. Did she not appear before you two? I think it was her voice who announced the start of the game. Whoever was starting, I got eaten right away. Unlucky, I guess. Unlucky spawn spot. I held my hand out for the note which Youngsu handed to me. The calligraphy on the red paper was stunning, taking me out of this dreary forest for a moment. Its delicate curve and stroke perfectly sized, indicating a masterful control of the brush. I felt my lips curl upward involuntarily softness filling my chest. He was saying that beautiful people had beautiful handwriting. I hope so. Like that probably means that doctors are not super beautiful in general. Like there's the stereotype about doctors or not having so like sloppy handwriting that you can't make sense of what it is. But thankfully we have computers, I guess, so it doesn't matter these days. It was unfair. Oh her, yes, she appeared in front of me too. She never gave me her name, so I have just been calling her 11 in my head. I see. I don't know her name either. It will be easier to call her 11. I briefly wondered what her real name was as I repacked the backpack and decided to ask the next time I saw her. Yangsu. She looked up from her phone and guiltily placed it in sleep mode. What is it doing with the phone anyway? Have you tried calling for help? Surely it doesn't work. She chewed on her lip and shook her head before turning the phone on again to call. Like there could be like the phone would call to somebody that would be interesting. Could be spooky too. There's no signal. No surprise there. What had she been using that phone for this whole time? I don't know, like she was using it for a flashlight at least. I guess like if you have like games downloaded or something, you can do that at least. Probably not super helpful for escaping though. That's too bad. Hey, maybe you should turn that up. I can barely see our surroundings with that blue light. I'm sorry. Besides, what if it runs out of battery at the time we need it? Oh, that's not a problem. My mouth dropped open, but words could not adequately describe my shock as I watched her fist through her pockets and pull out a hand-cranked charger. Do like these things actually exist? It'll take a ton of cranking for sure. Well, it's better than nothing. See, now I can use my phone as much as I want. Probably still not a good idea though. Charging your phone like that would still take time. Let's leave it on sleep mode for now until we find somewhere safe and with reception. Okay. She agreed and put the phone away without a fight. Oh. Like why did they break up? Like I guess like the typical one these days is like one of them is using the phone too much. Basically addiction, I guess. Backpack on my shoulders, metal pipe in my hand, and Yangsu following closely behind me. We resumed our journey to the bottom of the mountain. We walked and walked for a long time. I couldn't tell how long we had been walking. Was the time limit like 9 hours or something? Was this even downward? What if a monster appeared beyond the next bus? Every rustle of foliage, every breeze of mountain air, every single little sound kept the two of us on the edge. especially when the ground went up and down and shadows moved with the moon. Despite my anxieties, I kept my face stoic. If I broke down now, I would never make it through this game alive. Not just me, but her too. Eventually, Eleven's voice came once again from the sky. It is now the hour of the ox. You have 4 more hours to make it to the base of the mountain. Well, my ox though. 4 more hours meant that we had a little less than half the time left. I didn't know why the judge felt so kind as to let know the time. But something else she said bothered me. They should know the time because the phone right. Was that at least? Hour of the ox. It means hours between 1 and 3 in the morning. Like the typical vampire lady. Waking hours, I guess. Oh, learn something new every day. Why hour of the ox though? I don't really I can't think of good explanations. Mwah. We continued to walk, following the slight slope downward. Some mountains could take days to climb. The same probably held true for descending such mountains. I could only hope this wasn't one of them. Although my legs grew tired, I trekked onward with Yangsu. I could feel my pace slowing, but the distance between us seemed to be growing each moment. Thus I slowed to a stop and turned to look at her. I couldn't keep ignoring the panting behind me. Yangsu really wasn't made for the outdoors. Yangsu, let's take a break. As soon as the words left my mouth, I felt the weight upon my shoulders rush through my whole body and the aching of my feet intensified. I can't keep going. I shook my head. No, I'm tired as well. This backpack is killing me. With a thump, I dropped the backpack to the ground and took a seat in a grassy patch by some foliage. I rubbed my shoulders, stretching a bit, and began to rummage through the backpack for the food and water we found inside before. What is snacks exactly anyway? Like potato chips or something. Some refreshments would go a long way right now. It was an awful night for a midnight picnic, but I handed her a bottle of water anyways. It is an awful night to have a curse or something like that. A midnight picnic sounds like my kind of thing though. That would be fun. Like in countryside or something, I don't know. Like if there are people around, it's a little scary. Rummaging through the snacks included in the lucky box, I picked out some potato chips and pretzels for Youngs. Okay, I guessed it somehow. Oh, that is well, that's one of the typical snacks, I guess. She perked up immediately and took the bag, enthusiastically tearing it open and munching happily on the snack. Why did they break up though? Like, she seems nice to me. I smiled. She always looked the cutest eating her favorite salty foods. Then I bit back the smile and forced a frown. I needed to stop thinking like this. Why though? Though I guess like we aren't into like expand vegan ourselves, so it's kinda hard to know. But in reality, it would probably be awkward to do this right after breaking up. We ate mostly in silence. Perhaps it was due to the fact that there were monsters hunting us, or perhaps it was due to this being the first meal we shared since breaking up. Hello chat. So far, this is a really interesting game. Like the atmosphere. It didn't matter. I wasn't able to think of anything I was willing to say anyways. After eating, Youngsi sat cross-legged by me and took out her phone and hand crank. I suppose we were safer now than before, since I didn't hear any monsters nearby. Taking a quick glance around, I couldn't see anything in our proximity. I couldn't scold her for this. She turned the crank in her hands, brows drawn and completely focused on the task. Yet the speed she was going at wouldn't generate nearly enough energy to charge a temporary lamp for 2 minutes, let alone a phone. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, like phones have pretty big batteries in reality. No. Like charging by bicycles can have like the dynamo thingy that like lights the lamp and makes the like using the bicycle really heavy too. But that hardly like generates anything. You'd have to crank like probably like days to build the battery. Even like that might be optimistic. Can we like save here? Yes. How can you even help crank? I guess like say like let me do that. Not sure if scouting is going to help anyway. Let's try this. Yeah, give it to me. Yang Zhe hesitated, but passed the crank to me. I started turning the handle at twice the speed she was. Only going to take 1 day instead of 2. Still, it would take time to charge the phone. Barely a % increase in battery showed after cranking for 5 minutes. Well, that's way better than I thought though. So, why do you bother with this? She looked up from her phone. Nah, going to these lengths to keep a phone alive. We don't even have reception. A small smile graced her lips, reminding me of the time we were together. Yet it was sadder than I remembered it to be. Was she not doing well? If she wasn't, then There's a lot of important things in this phone, so I don't want it to die. Like it could be like awkward or really awkward things, I guess. It could be like games, or it could be like lewd pictures, or it could be pictures of us, something. Pictures of us, like, well, that would be kinda awkward too. Like, do you like actually want her back then? It's a little scary. Like, it sounds like a little obsessive. But I guess it depends on the circumstance, like why they broke up. I raised an eyebrow at her answer, unable to formulate words, as the sound of the hand crank filled the silence between us. She still had that small, sad but contented smile on her face, but it was directed at her phone. And that's what I was like kind of wondering. If that is what it does. You just need to be nice to her. I guess like if you ignore her, then well, you either get a bad end or you get like the other character. I guess like the only other girl we have seen is 11, so that's probably the other route, I guess. Like meta-wise. But I don't want to be like overly mean to her. No reason apart from the X thing. Anyway, I see. I didn't understand at all. What could be so good about a hunk of plastic and silicon? Like photos, I guess, would be memories at least. We sat in awkward silence. The sound of the rotating handle, the only thing that filled the air and made it bearable. Otherwise, I might have run my mouth on an unfortunate topic like the weather. Why is weather unfortunate of all things? It was probably for the better that I had nothing to say. Like maybe the main character is like a weather forecaster. Or like I guess the word is like meteorologist or something. Like she worked too much and that's why it's unfortunate, like she neglected her. But that's very like far-fetched. You're so strong, hello. Huh. Youngsu pressed her lips to a line, then looked away. Nothing, I just thought you're really brave being in this situation and all. I thought it was about having the strength for the hand crank. You too. I almost said, but bit the words back at the last minute. It wouldn't do to spoil her again, now that she was finally being a bit independent. Or maybe she was obsessive then. Maybe that's why the phone could be feasible. Another 10 minutes of cranking passed in silence. I think the phone should be charged enough now. I stopped turning the hand crank and handed both items back to her, Youngsu putting them away wordlessly. It was time to get moving. Like, do you like run out of the battery if you don't crank it? Assuming that we did it twice faster, then maybe yeah. We walked in silence again. There wasn't much to talk about, most of our energy was spent keeping our ears and eyes out for monsters. After what felt like hours of being on edge, our fragile peace was destroyed. Perhaps we grew complacent. Perhaps the trees and bushes blocked the way, the moonlight hitting our eyes too harshly. I didn't know if I saw them first or heard them first. Oh, hello there. A pair of monsters knelt in a clearing, teeth dripping into the remains of someone's leg. White bone gleamed in the moonlight, sinew still fresh and red. I barely had the chance to exhale when the ears twitched, and 4 red dots pointed in our direction. Run! Said shouted Yangsu behind me. As the first monster swiped at me, I barely parried it with the metal pipe. Hi Lu. Get out of here, look for help or find a weapon. Oh, another arm reached out to me and I smashed the pipe against it, the sound of nails and metal making me cringe. Hello you. The monster interrupted her with a howl, and I held the metal pipe in front of me just in time to block a more pointy rotten teeth from biting my face off. It is an uncomfortable situation to read the text. Yangsu, listen to me, you're just a liability. Hurry up and get out of here. I heard the crunch of leaves as they ran away. Looking back at the 2 monsters, I swallowed nervously. Put up a brave face in front of Yangsu, but all I wanted to do was run with her. But if I ran, they would come after both of us. It would be the end of both of us. The monsters let out a growl, and the skin around their mouths, no, those weren't lips, stretched into what felt like a smile. The next sounds were pretty repeated growls. Were they laughing? What are the chances that you can outrun this? What are the chances that you can fight either? Like maybe they are laughing like there is no way you can fight. Well, I guess we are trying to run, I guess. They seem really strong though. Strong and fast. I know these both seem like a bad option. Oh, let's try to fight, I guess. If that doesn't work well, we know what to do. Their overconfidence annoyed me. Ha! I raised the pipe and dashed towards the closest monster. The monster's eyes widened in surprise. I bashed its head with the pipe. It dropped to the ground, momentarily stunned as the other monster leapt toward me. I swiped the pipe again, hitting its shoulder, and thankfully was able to redirect its path enough to miss landing on me. Other monster was back, however, and I barely rolled out of its way as it sunk its claw into the ground where I was standing. There's just no way you can like outrun these if they are so fast. Like what is like trusting anyway? What is trusting anyway in this situation? Like maybe she will find help. She'll find a gun or something. running. I don't know how you survive. They seem really fast. Oh, hello chat. These situations with these are scary, but apart from that, it has been surprisingly chill actually. Just like a moody fog. I pushed myself up to crouching position just in time for one of the monsters to leap at me again. No time to run. I raised the pipe in an attempt to shield myself, but monster screamed as the pipe snagged on its skin, slicing as I made the swing through its torso. It was enough to kill it, but the monster dropped to the ground beside me, clutching itself and writhing in pain. It wasn't enough to kill it. Whoop. The pipe, thanks to the momentum, bent at nearly 90-degree angle. I don't know if that is necessarily a bad thing. Might be hard to use, but I don't know. Maybe it would be easier to block with it or something. The other monster looked at his companion, then back at me. I'll kill you too. Even if they understood my words, that was hardly a threat. And it was certainly not scared. The second monster leapt at me, and I held the pipe up to block. I don't know. There's just no way you can outrun at this point. It was okay. Yangsu would come back. Hopefully. She might have been flaky and often useless, but she wasn't one to leave others behind, especially not against monsters and death. I just had to hold out until Yangsu came back. I changed my stance with the pipe at the last minute. Just as the monster reached out its claws, swung the pipe back, hitting it just right across the jaw and sending it flying, along with half the pipe. It was too sore to be a weapon now. Or like you, I don't know, like the usual, I guess like the cool fighting movie move would be to pick up the other like half and then like do like dual wielding with them. Oh no. I was a good distance away and the monster was still dazed from the hit I gave its head. But it wouldn't be long before it recovered. Should I try to run? How far would I be able to get? Could I actually outrun? Well, I kinda doubt it. Blur appeared before my eyes. I cut my panicked thoughts short. Die! Carrying a large rock, she passed it over the monster's head. Yangtze's skinny arms were unexpectedly able to carry its weight as she hit it over and over again. Well, that's like less of a like fine and technical way to handle it. Or like Stone Age way to handle it, but it works, I guess. Combined with the blow I gave it earlier, the monster finally lost its strength to fight back and stopped moving at the ground by Yangtze's feet. Ha ha ha. Yangtze gasped as she dropped the rock, staring at the lifeless monster with tears in her eyes. She stumbled backward, lost, her arms shaking. The rock must have been heavy. Yet, as she looked up toward me, safe and alive, she gave me an expression of relief that must have been matched by whatever expression was on my face right now. The monsters were defeated and we were alright. No idea like how punishing this is, but I guess we somehow made it on the first try. However, I didn't know how many monsters there were on this mountain. If any of them heard the sound of our fight, then they might come this way. Could the cannibalism be that the monsters come and eat these? Like that would be cannibalism too, right? That's not like human cannibalism. Neither Youngsu nor I were prepared to fight another set of monsters. The only thing we could do right now was run. Run to finish the line and get out of this madhouse. It's not a house, it is a forest. I pulled myself up and grabbed her arm, taking her with me away from the clearing. Don't get stunned now. We need to get out of here before more monsters come. Right. Run. And run. I hope that we were at least running in the direction of the finish line. The finish line is probably like just down. No? Technically speaking. After several minutes of running, we stopped to catch our breaths. There were no sounds of monsters nearby. We dropped to the ground, adrenaline finally leaving me. Not a moment later, Element's voice boomed from the sky. There is 1 hour remaining. 1 hour, we better hurry. Let's hope the next mission doesn't take too much running, then you can just make a run for it and hope for the best. No matter how tired we felt, we had to press forward. Youngster nodded in agreement and we continued the trek downward. Since there was barely an hour left, we decided to run. A few minutes later, the ground stopped, sloping downward. I think we are close. My excitement was cut short by the sudden drop of a cliff a few meters in front of us. It's not that bad. We can make it down. It was true. I could make out the ground beneath the cliff. Still, it wouldn't be an easy journey in the dark. Young man. Hello, is someone up there? The sound of several voices caught our attention and we noticed a group of people gathered beneath the cliff. Middle-aged woman. Hurry, you have made it. This is the finish line. You just have to get down the cliff. My heart thumped with joy. Did you hear that? Yes, hello. We did it. Let's hurry. Well, let's not celebrate yet. Do you still have your phone? Of course. Youngsu took the phone from her pocket and turned it on. The bright blue glow illuminating a multitude of footholds on the cliff face. This doesn't look bad at all. Even Youngsu nodded optimistically. Like technically it doesn't say that. Like you can't get injured with the fall. Just you need to get down, I guess, alive. If the rest of the missions are just like use brains instead of body. We made it down the cliff fairly quickly, with just the glow of Yangsu's phone screen. Congratulations! You did it! There was a sizable group of survivors past the finish line, but I wasn't told the initial number of participants. I could only hope most of us made it out safely. I don't know, this is like... I guess it is technically most still, even if it is 2 or 3 people in addition to the main characters. Or at least one contestant didn't make it. Hello, Yangsu was interrupted by the toll of a bell, and Eleven's voice reverberated from the heavens once more. The first trial is now over. Congratulations to the people who have made it to the finish line. Before we could celebrate, a blinding white light enveloped us. I covered my face with my arms reflexively and squeezed my eyes shut. And when I opened them, I found myself in the comfort of my own living room, the one I used to share with Yangsu. Although this apartment was a familiar place, it felt painfully empty now. Yangsu. Was he alright? We both made it over the finish line, but... No way I took a deep breath, recategorizing the events in my head as I grounded myself. I was in my apartment. I had been sleeping, so that was a dream. It was unsettling how realistic that dream was. With a sigh, I heaved myself up to a sitting position on the couch and attempted to recall the events of my supposed dream. Surely it wasn't just a dream. Otherwise, well, this would be a very different kind of a game now, all of a sudden. Images that flashed through my mind gave a shiver down my spine. The sounds, the darkness, the exhaustion of hiking for 9 hours. Not to mention the inhuman claws, the snapping rows of sharp teeth. Just a dream. Just a dream. It was just a dream. I tried to tell myself those words, but it felt rather realistic for a nightmare. As I felt away, the smell of the monster spread on me into the depths of my memory. I remembered something softer as well. I guess we are probably going for Yangsu. Like, what has 11 done exactly? Like, what is like the grounds for doing this? Like, just that she was pretty, I guess. I think we'll do this too, but for Yangsu first. Ha ha ha. I chuckled softly to myself and buried my face in my hands. I must be really desperate for me to dream about my ex. broke up with her. I had no right to dream about her like this. I don't know, like, how you would, like, categorize this kind of dream, like if you dream about your, like, ex bonking a monster to your head with a rock. Like, what do you take out of that exactly? Nightmare, I corrected myself like it was any consolation. She wasn't the bad guy in my dream, nor was she the bad guy of my life. Things simply didn't work out. However, the Yangsu that appeared in my dream was different. It wasn't the Yangsu I remembered breaking up with. Although she was still that soft and gentle girl, I felt as if something had changed since the last time I saw her, despite not much time passing at all. I felt a mild pang of pain in my head as I tried to think about Tame. Yet thinking of her, I couldn't help but smile. A slightly sour smile that I would dream of her, albeit different. In the end, her presence made me happy. Maybe this nightmare couldn't be fully called a nightmare. But just like the monster bit was bad, I guess. I lifted my head up with a sigh. It was hard to uncoat sugar once it had been applied. I wouldn't be surprised if I was the bad guy of her nightmares. It was also hard to undo cruelty once it had been done to another person. I shook my head, trying to think of something else. Like, who has been cruel in this situation? Like, how cruel? Oh, I guess we have to think about her too. I didn't think my brain was capable of dreaming up someone as beautiful as 11. I don't know, like, I can't really tell like which one of them is more beautiful exactly. Perhaps I took too much note of Yangsu's soap operas. She looked like she walked right out of one of them. Like, she is pretty for sure, but I think Yangsu is about the same. Well, for me, like, as long as like you're like, well, relatively pretty, it doesn't really matter. It's more about the personality, and we know nothing about this person yet. Apart from that, she is doing some like survivor shows and being a judge. But that's not personality trait exactly. Judge of the 11th court. Someone who presided over games she didn't seem to enjoy much of it. The nightmares never made sense. They just existed to scare people. I think like nightmares basically exist as like a testing ground, like all dreams. Like you can, like your brain can do like dumb things in the dreams. And then you can be in real life like, well, don't do that in real life. Something like that. I couldn't help but wonder, was someone as beautiful as Sylvan to exist in a nightmare? Was it really a nightmare? But I don't know. It was kinda scary though, the monster part. Definitely not a good dream in that sense. Perhaps she was the silver lining of that cloud. Silver. I hummed to myself as I thought about 11. Silver didn't suit her. She was certainly a bright and vibrant red fighting against a black cloud. Then again, I knew nothing at all about her. Yep, we know nothing. If it was any consolation for me, at least I had Yangsu with me in the dream. I met a beautiful Game Master 11. Game Master is one way to put it, I guess. Maybe it was just a D&D session after all. Yet my nerves wouldn't relax. Monsters lingered in the shadows. I seemed to see them in every dark corner, even behind my own closed eyelids as I blinked. Enough. I couldn't keep thinking about this. I told myself to stop. My brain kept replaying the horrifying images each time I closed my eyes. I need a breath of fresh air. Well, now the question is like, well, it is obvious that we aren't alive, so like this is just like an illusion of some kind, I guess. This is like some kind of stopgap between the trials, basically. Maybe it is the trial to realize that this isn't reality. That could be also a thing. I stood and strided to the door, opening it with gusto into the void. Well, thought so. Apartment living room had no windows. Outside the front door should face out to the connecting hallways of the building, which also had no windows. At least, that was how it should have been normally. The transitions are nice. Instead, what reached me was black. Thick darkness covered every part of the world outside my apartment door and began to churn as if it noticed me. As my brain screamed to make sense of this, to debate my next actions, a cold hand delicately covered mine. Pushed the door closed. I turned to look over my shoulder, only to find 11 standing directly behind me, our faces inches apart as we stared into each other's eyes. My brain fried itself as my face heated up. My heart skipped a beat. She wasn't a dream. I didn't think anyone would open their door so quickly. What's going on? I told you, you died. It really wasn't a dream. All the feelings I had thinking about Yangsu and 11 washed over me again, paired with a nauseating sense of dread. I was dead. There were monsters. There's just a liminal space for recess between games. Okay, I guess I was pretty spot on, I guess. So it's fake. Perhaps. 11 glanced around as if curious about the layout of my apartment. Why don't you lead me around? Alright. Despite her asking me the question, she showed a muted surprise at my response. Perhaps that hadn't been a serious request. Would you like some tea? Or do you have some other contestant to visit? Most contestants don't feel the need to leave their places of comfort after a harrowing experience. Makes sense, I guess. I don't know why we were leaving to begin with. But I guess he came to stop us from jumping to the void accidentally or not accidentally. I'm pretty unique then, for better or worse. I spotted the start of a smile on her lips, as though my joke brought actual amusement. Yet it disappeared so quickly, it might as well have been my own hopeful imagination. I led her out of the living room toward the kitchen. The kitchen was in the back of my apartment, past the bedrooms and the bathroom. The thought of bedrooms made me pause. I don't get lewd thoughts right out of the way though. We are still doing competitions. Without thinking, I came to a stop at the first bedroom in the hallway. Rather than waiting for 11, who hadn't even stepped out of the living room yet, I was simply unable to move on. This had been Mimi's, Young's room, when we were still dating, and I had a feeling that she was sitting within that room right now. The implications of the game came rushing back to me. The things and conversations I had ignored for the sake of time. It is actually like an interesting question, like what is like home for her now? Like if they have broken up a week ago. But if they live together, like 1 week is really quick to find a new place. It could be that is still the place. Like maybe she's stopping by at friends or something. Depends on how bad it was. So I guess like breaking up when you live together, that must be like pretty bad most of the times. Like breaking up when you don't live at the same place, it's not that bad. Like less like extra worries on top of the breakup, I guess. Yangsu was also dead. How could that happen? She was alive and well when I last saw her. Well, like why are you dead is also a question. I didn't want to believe it. Also, like apparently, like we are a sinner of some kind too. Maybe all the contestants are. We might not have worked well together, but I didn't want her to be dead, or she is though. We were in love, you know. Question mark. We were dating. How can she be dead? She doesn't deserve it. You're not dating anyone. You're not dating anymore. Why do you care so much? That. I couldn't find an answer. I knew the answer, but I didn't want to face it. Thus, I changed the topic again. Why are we both here? So we died. But how did we end up in the same game? Luck, circumstances, chance. You both died sinners. I wondered what my sin was. I didn't live as a perfect human being. Well, what had I done that was so terrible that I'd be called a sinner in the afterlife? You would have known if you compared the 8 characters. 8 characters were nothing more than feudal superstition. cosmological astrology centered around the concept that human fate could be determined by the date of one's birth. Well, horoscopes, I guess. Fate is set in stone. Humans used to be so careful about it, to plan for the future, yet they don't do it anymore. That doesn't answer much though. I have no idea what you're talking about. Even search for your own partners rather than consulting it carefully for everyone that it involves. But not sure like if that is like sin-worthy though. Like who all does it involve anyway? Doesn't it involve anybody else? It's not just selfish, it's stupid. For how much you believe in fate, you sure try to fight it. Is that so? Did I touch a nerve? Perhaps I shouldn't keep bothering her. What should I do? I guess we'll have to do a ton of like fast forwarding second playthrough. Or potentially. Well, let's try to find her. I wasn't sure how to change the subject, so I placed my hand on the doorknob. But before I twisted it open, I turned back to 11. Sorry, I just want to check on Yangsu first. But I was greeted by blank space where she once stood. Dot. She must have other contestants to check up on. I tried to bury the sudden pang of hurt. I opened the door to familiar room, viewed to the brim, a glass against the more rustic look of the rest of my apartment. The room was decorated with more stuffed toys than I had owned my entire life. But I didn't mind because every time I got her a new one, she would smile brighter than the moon during mid-autumn. This room fitted her so well. I would always make space in my life for Mimi. Until I didn't. When the differences became too much, when the pink seemed too frail and suffocated in this small space. I don't quite know what the problem was yet. Just that they were different, I guess. I guess the main character is a little bit of a gloomy character, I guess. It was the right thing to do, to tell the pink to go elsewhere, to grow into its own space instead. Yet I missed the pink, and the way it filled the space perfectly after she left. It was better than bare walls and empty silence. Let me get more soda. Okay, hydration. Oh, I guess she is here, after all. Sang-soo was sitting in the middle of the room on the rug, her back against the bed, and Mr. Meows in her arms. Beside her, an open can of beer on the rug rested by her knee. Lulu. And beer spilled all over the rug. But thankfully it is just like imaginary something the room, so it doesn't matter. Oh no. Hurried to pick the can up to stop the onslaught of fizzy liquid from staining the carpet. But the can slipped from her hand again and landed with the soggy mess. Landed within the soggy mess. Hold on, let me get some napkins. I don't know, like if my reaction would have been weird, like, don't worry, it is just a dream, so it doesn't matter. I gathered paper towels from the kitchen to absorb the liquid, then got some soap to wash out the sticky residue. I think we'll have to throw the whole thing in the washing machine. I think it's hand wash only. Probably not too hard to wash anyway, as long as you have a bowl, but depends on the size. What a high maintenance rug. I think like washing machines, like rugs might be too heavy for them. Probably not the best idea. How bad could beer damage a rug? It is just a dream rug, so probably not too bad. My eyes drifted to the can that was now placed on solid ground beside the rug. That brand tasted like shit. It's cheap, gets the job done. How did she, was Yangsu always this good at treating me? Until your rug gets thirsty. Besides, you make more than enough to treat yourself to some better drinks. It's pointless without someone to drink it with. Was it selfish of me to feel relieved at those words? Those words like hurt me a little bit. Hurts me a little bit. Being such a loner these days. Anyway, let's play. I didn't want to dwell on it, but the game to like striking that kind of mental damage instead of the horror damage of all things. I'm surprised you're dead. You're always the cautious type. I stopped scrubbing the rug for a brief moment. Perhaps not the best evidence for my worth. Cautious enough to make mistakes. That isn't just a simple mistake. If I had been with her, would she still be alive? I always did do everything for her. I guess like until the breakup. It made me feel good. Needed to be relied on like that. Like I was the shining star that supported her whole life. I think like that is like a little bit too, goes a little bit too far. Like the feel good part, like that's nice. But like, I don't know, I wouldn't want to be like too needed. It feels kinda bad, in a weird sense. I don't know, like maybe I just want to be like equals. Like maybe that's the thing. If you're like too needed, then it feels weird in that sense. But it was too much. It didn't matter how much I liked her. It didn't matter how much that hit of dopamine gave me. It was not good for us. Yeah, probably not. Like not that it needs to be like bad, but it kinda depends. I guess. Like if she's like the super traditional wife person, then I guess. I know. I'm not into that. It doesn't feel like you're equal enough then. Had other issues. I couldn't let her rely on me the whole time. I couldn't be there doing all of her things for her when I still had my own baggage to unpack. Like what is like the main character's baggage then? Is the main character like more of the problem that she is? But it could also be that like she was like lazy or something basically. Like Yangsu. And it got on the nerves of the main character, like that could also be a thing. I don't know like how easily like being nice leads to that exactly. Like, I don't think too easily, but it depends on personalities I guess. And she wound up dead because of it. We don't know yet why she is dead and why you're dead too. My finger squeezed the paper towels. I guess the main character is like dead because they like isekai truck thing basically. That is like my assumption. That is neutral enough and like you can shake it off these days I guess. I'm not sure like it is like horror game exactly that. Like it being neutral. Either way. Conflict broiled in my heart. I didn't want to think about it. How's your new apartment? It's closer to my workplace and there are a lot of restaurants nearby. Not sure like how helpful the restaurant thing is. Like 1 week after breakup. She's doing just fine, I told myself. Apart from that she's dead. That's not too fine. Great. Then once we finish these games and go back to our lives, you won't go hungry as long as you can practice ordering food by yourself. Like how hopeless has she been? Like this reminds me of like the Yuki's 4P, like the kind of spin-off game or the third game where one of the characters couldn't even order anything. But like there is also the thing that like anxiety and stuff. Like it's not entirely like joking matter exactly. Like I too like struggle to do phone calls sometimes. Like I don't know, for some reason. So I kinda see it. Like maybe she wasn't like totally hopeless. Maybe it just was like circumstances. Also like ordering food, like is that even like a useful skill? I don't think I have ever done it actually. Like that would be like a little bit of a hurdle. I'm sure I could do it, but now it's kind of like, why? I did like order food on the internet during the COVID days. When I was like wondering whether I had like a flu or COVID and I didn't want to go to the grocery store. That's like the only time, but that wasn't phone, that was the internet, which is, well, easy. Oh, I'm in a huge blabbing mood again, but let's try to play too, I guess. I regretted my words the moment they slipped past my tongue. I didn't mean to make them so bitter, so accusing. I mean... Next time we eat together, I'll order. It will be my treat. But she's like totally on board with like forgetting about the breakup, I guess. For better or worse. I beat back my skepticism. Yangsu always struggled to get the word out for what she wanted to eat. Whether it was ordering over the phone or eating out, she would timidly point out the exact dish she wanted, but push the menu to me when the waitress came by. Or maybe it's just anxiety. Oh, not sure like if anxiety is just, but still. Like maybe that's the explanation. I guess like the protocol usually is that like we'll both tell like separately what you want in a restaurant. That is the protocol, I think, so I don't think you need to be like too scared about saying it yourself. Kinda hard to like exactly figure out what the problem has been here. Alright. Even if it was an empty promise, at least she was trying. Like it kinda sounds like it is like basically like she is too reliant on the main character. And the main character is like too like, yay, I'm finally important because somebody relies on me. Something like that. I threw the last paper towel into the trash. For liminal space made for our comfort, it sure took effort to get the beer out of the rug. Like, do you even need to do it? I think that's the best we'll be able to clean it. Thank you. Like, if there are only like like 3 trials, like there's only one time we return here anyway. Like, do you need to clean up for just one time? No, that's kind of like me being lazy attitude. Like my room being a little bit of a mess and well, I come here more than just one time. The sound of a bell rang, and before I could turn and reply to her, I found myself in an endless black void again, accompanied only by the image of a wooden door a few feet away from me. I prolonged the inevitable. I opened the door and walked through. The same light as before covered my entire body, prompting me to close my eyes till I reached the second test. The ground underneath my feet seemed to change. So is this now like Isekai Magical Academy setting? We need to learn magic. I opened my eyes to the sight of a large western mansion. The low, confused chatter of human voices surrounded me. Glancing around, I found that I was within a small group of people I recognized as survivors from the previous round. Strangers aside from our shared misfortune. Yangsu stood a few paces away. Her eyes met mine and we exchanged looks. I walked closer to her. Air stilled. The chatter suddenly stopped. So what is the quest or the mission? With light footsteps that could barely be heard in the newfound silence, 11 walked up, and stood before the small crowd. Welcome to the second round of your trial. I will explain the rules of this game. At that moment, a fellow survivor rushed at 11. To hell with your rules. Well, you can just die too. If you don't want to compete. That was the option, right? They raised their fist with intention to beat 11. Yet 11 didn't move or scream. Flicking her wrist, she slipped her scalpel out from her sleeve and swiftly threw the blade at the enraged survivor. Probably an ex-survivor now, I guess. The scalpel embedded itself in their forehead. Rip. Ex-survivor it is. A trickle of blood rolled down from the wound, then they collapsed on the ground. Their body fell apart, limbs looking as if they had been hacked apart with a saw, and began to bloat, discoloring dark and putrid. That's unnecessary though. Like a murder victim dismembered and disposed of in a river. I looked away. If I must, I will remind you that I'm the judge of your trial. Followed ethic of the court, lest you be thrown out from the game of life. 11 gestured to the air. A group of maids, whose features I could not see, walked up to us. They squatted down by the corpse and began to pick it up, tearing apart any remaining large pieces to better carry. Without speaking, all but one maid returned to the mansion, taking all traces of the dead body with them. Now then, the rules. You will be guests at this mansion for the next 3 days, 2 nights, where you will be participating in the second round of your trials. Sure, but well, at least we have a place to live in, but that's not the quest, I guess. Can't be just survive in a mansion for 3 days. That sounds like I don't know, a big YouTuber thing. Though something a big YouTuber would do with big money. Within the period of the test, you must find the trial key hidden within the mansion grounds. It's kind of like Minecraft and trial keys. But well, the woodland mansion is different. Trial chambers it is. How are you supposed to find a key? Can we use a metal detector or something? Also if we fail, is everybody dead? Or is just the finder alive? Or does the finder get to decide who dies? Hopefully nobody nasty finds it if that is the case. There will be a feast for the king of the 11th court in the evening of the 3rd night, which marks the deadline for this game. Her voice seemed to twist as she mentioned the king. If any one of you is able to find the key, then all remaining guests will be considered to have won this round. Okay, so it is actually a co-op game. Very atypical of this normal trope with this kind of games. I guess there's still a chance that somebody can be like a troll basically. Go well, I'll look in this room and then it just happens to be there, but they're nope, nothing there. If you don't want to live, but well, why do the quests then? Similarly, if no one of you is able to find the key, then everyone will be considered to have lost and be served as a meal at the feast. I guess the king is one of the monsters then. Collective punishment, collective victory. I guess like in a way like a collective punishment, but well, it's also kind of individual because well, everybody has failed individually to find the key, right? Oh, and you will know that you have found the key when you see it. But the key is not necessarily a key kind of item. Good luck. The one made a little clap of encouragement. I guess the guy like complaining about the rules kinda died for nothing, like this is not that bad compared to the last quest. Of course there could be monsters, who knows? Nobody said that the mansion is peaceful. The servant will escort you inside. Gathering the remaining maid, 11 turned and walked into the mansion. The maid bowed. Welcome guests, please follow me. Her voice held an unnatural rasp that made my guts churn. Like, please follow me. Something like that. Not sure if I can do that kind of voice acting, but I guess I can try. Like the funny voices are easier to do than like actually normal voices. The maid led the group inside the mansion, pointing out the doors to the dining room where we'd have meals before leading us to a hallway with many doors. She walked us down the hallway, pointing each person to one door, stating that those were their assigned rooms. I was kind of wondering like if she's kind of like a big figure. You can't see the face. Okay, so these are our rooms, I guess then. I guess the key could be in one of them too, but not sure how likely that is. It being grounds, it can be outside too, I guess. Not sure like how well it is hidden, that's the question. My room and Yangsu's room were 4 doors away from each other. Curfew is after dark. Please stay inside your rooms after curfew. That will be all. So I guess there are monsters. But I guess not during the day. The maid bowed and walked away. Let me save. Is there some way to see like how far you are into the game? It was F something, I think maybe F2 was the key. Let me test if it works. It does work. So it's like almost exactly 4000. I guess these are text box numbers. I guess like trying to make the 1000 would be nice, but I'm not sure I can do that at this rate. Like 4 sessions would be kinda ideal, because then the last session would be Halloween, right? Like Halloween is Friday, but I can do like 1 extra day if that is needed. Let's play a little bit more. Let's play like 20 minutes more, I guess. hide the number. We don't need it. Let me hydrate, I guess, while at it. Yeah. But so far I like this. Like, I was expecting this to be like scary, but it's not that scary. It's kinda moody actually. And like it's interesting, like there are like mysteries, like what happened to the main character and the ex, and like what is happening between them, and what is happening, and like what is the judge planning and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. I do like it. Anyway, a survivor group idled in the hallway waiting for someone to make the first move. I guess the first move is like start searching. Finally, a woman spoke up. Hey, let's have everyone search the rooms and then meet up out here in the hallway again to make a plan. Like, actually, it would be more efficient to look elsewhere and then search your own room during the curfew. Technically speaking, right? Because during the curfew you can't do anything else. Also, like, most likely it's not inside rooms. What is the point? Point then? Like, you just go inside the room and like move the rug or something and it's under the like, whoa, that's the quest done. Surely that's not how it works. You really think they'd put the key in the bedroom? Yep. I don't think so. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, but later I would say it's not like good time management. A few murmurs, complaints, agreements, sound it out. Sure, that sounds fine with me. I don't like if I'm the only person who is like over analyzing this so much. Youngsu nodded. Here I'm like the only person who is being like this inefficient. Thus, after the group came to consensus, I went into my assigned room to check for the key. I knew like from the story perspective, this is probably what you want to do. Like, introduce the place first. Oh, that is a mansion and a half door. Such a golden bed and stuff. Fitting with the look of the mansion, the room was a Western style room. I sifted through the furniture and looked under the bed, mattress, pillows, and so on. However, I found no key. No surprise there. Before long, I returned to the hallway, where around half of the group had already regrouped. A minute later, Youngsu came out of her room and shuffled to my side. Dot. The rest of the group returned with Tame. I guess like there could be more characters than like these two. These are like representatives of the other characters. Young man. Anyways, you said something about the plan. But anything, lady? That's what we are here to discuss. With less cohesion than soapy water, the group started crumbling, debating on what to do. Noisy. They really were noisy. Yangsu fidgeted, eyes darting to the floor to avoid the attention of any of the other survivors. She seemed a little pale. I cleared my throat, prompting a few survivors to look my way. Taking advantage of the short dip in noise, I raised my voice. I believe it's best if we all split up and investigate separately to cover more ground. We can regroup over meals in the dining room to discuss our findings. That would work for me. Like how much do we split up? Like there is still a chance that once there's other trouble, like the horror game thing, like never go anywhere alone basically. That is the death flag. Some more noise. Whatever. See you when those creepy maids call for mealtime then. At long last the group dispersed, walking off in different directions to search for the key. I let out a sigh I didn't know I'd been holding in. I swept my bangs out of my face and turned to Yangsu, who hadn't left with the other survivors. Let's go. Okay, we are just automatically going together. Ma. We walked together out of the hallway with the guest rooms. Making a random turn, we looked around for any hints of the special key that Eleven mentioned. How much can you wreck the mansion anyway? Can you take all the paintings from the walls and unscrew the light bulbs or anything like that? How far do you need to go? Tear all the carpets to see if it's under them somehow. While the key wasn't as kind as to be sitting in the ground in the middle of a hallway, we soon happened upon a large plaque on the wall, classical script carved in the bronze. I narrowed my eyes to decipher the riddle. Okay, so there are riddles, but that helps, I guess. Reading text aloud, Yangsu snapped a picture of the plague with her phone that she had brought out to document the mansion. He, the marshal of the central altar, sleeps at the hour of the dragon and snake. I have no idea how this work. I guess it's probably saying that you can only find it during a specific time. Or maybe they're seeing whatever is lurking during the curfew, there is a specific time you can avoid it. Oh, surely I don't need to write this down. We can't just brute force it when it comes to that. Hopefully Yangsu is smart enough so I don't need to rack my brain, that's also a possibility. It seems that she was interested in this kind of lore things. Together with the sacrifice's key. Cursing the father blessed by the gods. Even spoken aloud, it seemed like gibberish. Well, there was a key mentioned. Looks like a hint for where the key is located. But what does it mean? Dragon and snake curse. It's kind of ominous. I don't know, maybe it's referring to a place in the mansion that we haven't been to yet. We did mention Tame. So I think the dragon and the snake have something to do with time. I nodded. Then again, it could be a red herring. if it isn't, then we would be the sacrifices. Sacrifice to be eaten, huh? It's kind of unpleasant that whoever wrote this decided already that we are going to lose. Yeah, it makes me want to prove them wrong even more. I took a picture, right? We can think about this riddle more and review the text from your phone later. Okay, that's handy. I don't need to write anything down. Hopefully. Kinda reminds me of Blacklist still though, like me playing it in the beginning, like there's this like huge paper with text like surely this won't be interesting or important at all. So no need to write it down or anything. We had barely just started investigating this mansion. What would be our best bet? With the size of the mansion and the low survivor count from the first round, 3 days wouldn't be enough to dig through every nook and cranny. But as you are trying to push the 11 route, but it's probably like too late anyway to do it now. Probably have to just redo the game more or less. But we are committed to her. Still, 2 pairs of eyes would be better than 1. So we keep investigating together. I held out my hand to Yangsu, but she hesitated. Ma. Yeah, I'd be happy to. She took my hand. We continued exploring the mansion, checking the corners of hallways, entering rooms here and there. And I'm not sure if here and there is like the plan, like being more systematic would be nice. Otherwise you get the same, I get in Silksong, like you're like, oh, I think I went everywhere, but there's something I missed somewhere. For each new location, Yangsu took a number of photos, stating that it would be easier to zoom in into details and review locations with her phone. Probably true. Zigzagging around the halls, we eventually exited the mansion through a side door in the southern section. We reached an outdoor garden. By the garden was a pretty pond with lotus flowers floating on the water's surface. The garden was too filled with greenery and blossoms. For all that, the mansion was disconcerting. I could only call this garden pretty. So here's a place like this. So there's a place like this here too. We walked around the garden for an initial look, peeking at plants and soil. I got like the Western style mansions make me think of it like basically you would have like a huge garden with just like buses like cut into like squarish shapes, I guess. Something like that. Maybe a fountain too, that's a staple too, I guess. Like the French style buildings, I guess. The palace. Maybe that's more like a palace than a mansion. We walked around the garden for an initial look, peeking at plants and soil. I spotted a bed of orchids and approached it, squatting in front of a section of white orchids. Turning my head, Yangsu seemed confused. I couldn't help but smile. This flower suits you. And the main character is suddenly very like flirty. Like where did the extra go? Beside the white orchids, we have a section of pink ones as well. So maybe it's like saying like you were too into pink previously. I think they suit you more. Yangsu walked up to the flower bed and leaned down to pick a single orchid blossom. Oh, I guess we are allowed to do that. She made a gesture offering it up to me, so I tilted my head instinctively. Thus, she tucked it above my ear, which tickled my girlish heart. Ah, pretty nice. Perhaps I made a strange expression. Orchids are perennials, so as long as they are correctly planted, you only have to plant them once and they'll come back every year for 2 decades. One blossom won't kill it. Although, if we are dead, then certainly they should also be dead. Well, like depends on the definition of dead. I guess we are kinda like ghosts, but doesn't mean that the world needs to be dead. Too bad. They really are pretty. I stood back up and the two of us finished surveying the garden's general appearances. No hints of the key could be found from the light overview. A light breeze blew by. The weather was fine today. They split the garden and searched through the flower beds. I looked toward Yangsu, wondering if I should have specified how we were splitting this task, but it seemed that I didn't need to. I'll take the right side. Sure. We split, heading to our respective sides. I squatted down by the flower beds and parted them, checking through the dirt and crevices hidden by their leaves and petals. A good while passed, and as I lifted my hand to wipe some sweat that was cooled by the breeze, I noticed something. Before I realized it, the little flower in my hair had already been blown away. A little disappointed, I returned to my task. Despite the length of the tedious labor, I found nothing. I wondered if I had to uproot the flowers, but not only did it seem extreme, I didn't have the tools for digging. I guess what we found was that the flower was missing. Well, let's hope it's not in the pond. That would be like annoying to crawl through. Finished, I stood back up. My knees made a little cracking noise for my back that felt sorer than it should have. I rejoined Yangsu, who had also finished. Any luck? No. Shook her head and let out a sigh. What does this key even look like? You'll know when you see it. Unfortunately, it seems like we haven't seen it just yet. Maybe the key is a lie. Maybe the key is a cake. I'm happy, at the very least, they were kind enough to give us a couple of days before executing us. Tut. Are you giving up? Yangsu looked at me. Tut. No, not this time. How could I give up just yet, when I have been so lucky as to meet you again after death? Then let's pass all 3 rounds. Yeah. Let's go back inside. It's kind of making me worried though, like if you go the 11 route, like will she die? It kind of makes me worried though, if I want to play the other route, if that is the case. Hopefully not. But this is like my problem with visual novels that have multiple routes. Like I find like one nice character, then I can't like sometimes play the other routes because I feel too bad for the character somehow. Just one more thing. She retrieved her phone from her pocket and quickly went around the garden to snap photos from every angle. Young-soo looked lonely, holding that phone so carefully. I wondered how long she had that phone case, that kiddie phone strap. I couldn't quite remember when she had bought it, but perhaps it was as far back as college. She finished up the photos in no time. I guess they had known each other pretty long then. Like they did say that they were working. Not sure like how long college is in China. Like in Finland, like university is 5 years, I guess. On average, I guess people take a little longer than that. I guess like they must have known at least like, I guess 5 years is a good estimate. If they have been working too, could be longer. Who knows? Then returned inside the mansion. For whatever reason, our timing coincided with that of many maidservants milling around the hallway, connected to the side door in the southeast quadrant. Young-soo and I moved to the side of the hallway to avoid them while walking, falling into single file line of 2. I felt Young-soo tug on the edge of my jacket, and I turned around to face her. I guess this is again like if you had thought about the key, it could be like attached to one of the maids too. I guess like the riddle probably doesn't support that. Can we share a room tonight? I don't feel safe sleeping here alone. That's very bold, I guess. Maybe she's like serious, but it's a little bit of a bold statement to an ex. I shot a quick glance at the maids, feeling the hairs of my arms begin to stand. Of course, but the main character who has no issues at all. She's just fully on board with this, like second chance trope. Let's go to my room together before curfew. For a moment, I thought about the past, the room we shared and the room we didn't. Once upon a time, she was a girl who I loved, a girl who loved me. Right now, we were no more than friends by my own will. I held her hand and hurried away from the servants. Or like maybe the breakup just wasn't like that bad, even though it kinda sounds initially like it was not pretty. Yeah, I guess it could have been something else too, like the that, like maybe it was like it was not wise or something. Who knows? It would be nice to find the key soon. Surely we'll find it like the last possible moment. Investigation continued for a while longer, to no avail, before everyone was called for dinner by the voice of a maid from an invisible intercom. I sat next to Young-soo at the big dining table. Looking around the table, I noticed an empty seat, the young man from before never showed up for dinner. which young man, like the one revolting or somebody else. No one had succeeded in finding the key yet. The servants served dinner, and few words were exchanged between us survivors. After eating, we all headed back to our rooms to rest for the evening. Well, let's play this day to end and then call it a day, I guess. Like almost 400 dropped frames at some point, but probably not too bad. Just noticed. I walked into my assigned room, turning on the light, before Yangsu followed me in. She glanced around the room and let out a hum of contemplation. Are we going to sleep in the same bed, or is there a couch or something? The layout of my assigned room looks the exact same. That's probably how it works. So all of the guest rooms look the same. You could, I guess, like check. Maybe it's a clue. Maybe. After refreshing up in the attached washroom, the two of us sat on the only bed in the room. I plopped down onto my back, enjoying the soft bounce of the mattress. I put my arms behind my head and let my legs dangle off the edge of the bed. I looked toward her from the other low angle as we retrieved her phone and hand crank and began to charge her phone. I guess it's easier now, not being in the forest. By the frowning face though. She really was slow. I sat up, thinking that I'd do it for her instead, since I could crank it at least 2 times faster. Then I froze. Was it really better for me to do it? It was also because I always did this that we fell apart. Back when we were still dating, I had always been trying to take over what Yangsu had been doing, whether out of impatience or arrogance. Okay, well that's a problem, I guess. I thought the main character just wanted to be nice, but that doesn't sound so nice anymore. I do kinda get the sentiment, but I don't know, like it's better to like help her, like maybe in other ways. I'm not sure like how you can help her crank in other ways exactly. Like trying to crank it together sounds clunky. Weird. If they were like still dating, I guess it would be kind of nice. Like holding her hand and like cranking together. Then she would be doing it too. Would be kinda nice. She didn't blame me, but I had blamed her for letting me. How can you like even do that? How does that work? Like that sounds like gaslighting. Like I'm helping you too much because you're letting me help you too much. So weird. Not sure though. Not sure like why they broke up. Like it doesn't. Like I guess I kinda see it, but this doesn't sound like super serious. It could be something that could be solved with some communication. I guess that is like easy to say like in hindsight, like in theory, but sometimes communication is hard, I guess. I'm happy A soft voice broke me out of my thoughts. Why? I'm happy that despite our breakup, we can still sit around like this and spend time together. We were originally friends before we dated. That we were. Have I known you for almost half my life now? It makes me feel old when you say that. I still remember being a student like it was just yesterday. Although I don't particularly want to go back and relive those days. I don't know, like university wasn't that bad. I kinda liked university. I even was contemplating whether I should be a researcher, but ultimately I wanted to make games. But I did like studying. Thinking about something. Nothing in particular. Although there was that time you studied all day, every day for weeks on end. Just despite our class's top ranking student. My dark history. Oh yeah, the Japanese word for this is kurorekishi. You hear it so much, I guess. In this kind of situation when people are talking about the past. The gallant class topper, Hawaiian Hilo. For the term that is, says number 2. Grandma was proud but also worried, so she made me promise not to overdo it in the future. I personally found it a little charming. Do you secretly like nerdy people? Well, nothing wrong with nerdy people. I do like nerdy people. It's not about that. But that you were working hard for your goal. But that's always nice to see, I guess. That unusual first place student really was an insecure jerk. I don't even remember what she said to me that time, but I do remember you snapping at her. Next thing I knew, you'd thrown yourself at studying. Is that so? I vaguely remembered that I hated the guts of our class's first place student. A wave of nostalgia ran over me as we chatted about our high school days. We were already quite close during high school. Both decent students, we ended up attending the same college as well, one with a higher ranking biology program located near our hometown. It really did seem like we'd known each other for a long time. It kinda sounds like that. Do you remember our military training at the start of college? How does that work? Like every Chinese first year undergraduate, we participated in mandatory 2-week-long military drills at the start of our college. Life after a relaxing end to high school. Okay, that's kinda. Well, I guess Finland does have the military for guys for some reason. I think it is kinda sketch it being gendered. Should be the same regardless of gender. You can also not do it and do some other kind of thing. It's weird. Why don't girls have to do that then? Doesn't make sense. But I didn't know that China had same kind of thing basically. I guess like it like being like gender neutral though, like it is like better actually than what we have here. I give them that. That is nice. Still like military, though it's a little creepy sounding having to do that. But like maybe there's an option, or like maybe it's not like that like warfare kind. If it is like 2 weeks, I guess you can't like really do like warfare. Like just going like, okay students, you have guns now, let's drill. Sounds really scary. Like a 2-week kind of thing. Like that. Don't remind me of that. Her hand crank slowed. There was too much sun. Whoever decided that all college students have to exercise under the summer sun should be purged. Well, I think not wearing sunscreen also contributed to the sunburn. Blah, sunscreen. What's wrong with sunscreen though? Like I said back, then I'm never setting foot in the sun again if I don't have to. I kinda understand it. I don't like the sun like that much either. Like if the weather is warm like that, it's kinda nice, but the sunshine, I'm not a big fan of it. Like a cloudy day is kinda better, then no need for sunscreen. And it's hopefully not so scorching either. But I wouldn't like scoff at sunscreen, it's better than burning. From somebody who accidentally burned herself a little bit during last Pride. So yeah, it's not the best thing when it happens for sure. Rather use sunscreen than do that. As a working adult, you don't have to go out in the sun like that anymore. But don't you still need a little light to be healthy? Not exactly, I guess. Not exactly. My vitamin supplements are covering it. Yeah, like in Finland, like basically like everybody is recommended to eat like vitamin D because the winters are so dark. I think they put it into like milk and soy milk too, so that people get enough. Like vitamin D is the one you get from sunshine, I guess. Ha 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 ha. Don't laugh. You also bought me a bottle of gummy vitamins and a sun umbrella. So you're contributing to it. Also, this took way longer than half an hour, but I don't mind. I'm having a lot of fun blabbing. Haha, sorry. I think I might actually have a picture from around then. Youngsu stopped cranking and instead turned the phone screen on, opening up her photo gallery app, scrolling through a myriad of pictures. I peeked over her shoulder to see many nostalgic moments recorded in her gallery. I guess it's at least like it doesn't seem that either of the characters has been like cheating or anything, so that's a relief at least. That would be an awkward one for sure, to have second chances after that. Finally, she stopped on a picture and clicked on it. The picture expanded, showing a photo of her looking rather crispy and me slathering globs of white sunscreen onto her face. This was probably around 3/4 of the way through military training when she finally agreed to use sunscreen. Okay, that's really far into it, I guess. Who took this photo? By Maddie. She sent it to me as part of her commemorative album. That was the name of a college classmate. What a nostalgic name. Haven't talked with By Maddie in a while. Well, hopefully not dead, unlike some other people. Next thing we know, we are going to be meeting up with her for an alumni anniversary event. She'll be dragging along a child with her girlfriend. Words that come from someone who is aging. Young-soo resumed charging her phone with a hand crank, and we chatted a little longer. The night deepened. I let out a yawn and stretched my arms. She finished with her phone charger and put it away into her pocket, shaking her wrist. Then, catching my yawn, she yawned as well. Like so far, like no monsters or anything. I thought this was supposed to be horror. But not complaining about it being tame though. The few monsters in the beginning, like I don't need it more like harsh than that. Let's go to bed now. Young-soo crookily nodded. I slipped off the bed to turn off the light. Good night. Good night. We tucked in bed, taking one half each. I couldn't help but notice that both of us kept a space between each other. That is to be expected, I guess. It would be kind of you to break up a week ago and then like have to sleep in the same bed and just like cling to each other right away. I closed my eyes, feeling the day's exhaustion run over my body, and knock knock knock. Someone was at the door. Oh, don't open the door, please. Intending to get out of the bed and answer, I shifted. Don't. Question mark. Don't open the door. Sure. Knock knock. Knock 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 knock. A chill ran down my spine, propping myself up on my side with my elbow. I gazed toward the door that was still closed and locked from the inside. Whoever was knocking at the door had no intention of opening the door. However, the knocking continued for much longer than any sane human would knock for. The party beyond the door never saying a word. Knock. Surely it is a trap, don't do it. Finally, the knocking stopped. I breathed in a sharp breath of air, glanced back at Young-soo, who was also now looking at the door. Click. I heard the muffled sound of the survivor next door opening the door. No rip, I guess. It's nice to see you. Then the woman screamed. Oh, I knew it. This was totally expected. And stopped screaming with a squelch, which I shouldn't have been able to hear through the wall. Young-soo grabbed onto my shirt, making me flinch and buried her face into my back. Young-soo was trembling. From the other room came more sounds, crunching, cracking, splattering, which made my stomach turn with nausea and my vision begin to undulate in the darkness. I breathed in and out, focusing on Young-soo. It's okay, It's not in our room, it's okay. We are safe. We are safe, but somebody else is not safe. My words were both for her and for myself. That. Eventually, the sounds from the other room stopped. We waited in trepidation. The thing at the door was probably... Footsteps passed, and no more sounds, no more knocking came. I watched the door for a while longer, then Yangsu held on to me, until we concluded that we were safe for now. At long last, I closed my eyes and slept. Daylight came in an instant. The morning was spent searching for the key without results. Noon came and passed. Yangsu and I scouted out the mansion in places we had yet to touch. As I ran my hand along a wall, hoping to feel the key under the wallpaper, something shifted beneath my feet and paw. I guess we are calling it a day here. It is so exciting though. Like thankfully, like the horror tropes, like they are pretty stable. I see them coming, no jump scares or anything. Like it is more like psychological than like graphic kind of horror, which I'm super weak against, but the psychological I can deal with, as long as the descriptions aren't like too gruesome. It's nice. It's interesting in many ways. I guess we are playing this next Friday. The rest of the weekend is well Silk Song. Guess like Silk Song is like in a way like a little like atmospheric and maybe spooky too. But this is the spooky month of vibes, I guess. In the right amount for me. Thank you for watching. It has been a lot of fun. Looking forward to playing this next week. Probably next Friday. I don't know if I'll do an extra stream. It could be something else too. So probably 3 streams a week. Might be enough though. There's a possibility that I can't do a development stream because I'm working on the Yuri Jam game, but no idea yet. Like it has been a little bit of a struggle. So I'll need to get past the struggles at least to do that. But yeah. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow next week. It was a lot of fun. Bye bye.